Hi everyone and welcome. For those of you who follow Rock Recipes but may not know me, my name is Olivia. I am Barry's daughter and I've actually been working behind the scenes at Rock Recipes for a number of years now. But here we are today in front of the camera for once, and we are going to be making one of my favorite Newfoundland recipes, Newfoundland Cherry Cake. This is a traditional Newfoundland recipe. If you grew up in Newfoundland, you're probably familiar with it. It's traditionally made at Christmas time, but it's also great any time of the year. This recipe in particular really reminds me of going around the bay to my Nan's house. Not a chance were you gonna go to Nan's and not have a bit of cherry cake before you go. She always has one in the freezer. It's a real favorite, a real family favorite, and I'm really happy to be sharing it with you today. So let's get started. This is a really easy recipe and it really just has a few ingredients. Here in the bowl I have 2 cups of sugar, and to that I've added 1.5 cups or 3 sticks of butter. All I'm going to do with this to start is cream it until it's nice and light and fluffy. Great, so now that I have my butter and sugar creamed together, I'm going to go ahead and add 3 eggs, but we're going to add them one at a time and mix in between each addition. Great, that's the first one. Okay, last egg going in. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and 2 teaspoons of almond extract. The almond extract really is what gives this cake its iconic flavor. Really recommend getting your hands on some if you don't have any at home. It's available at any grocery store, should be pretty easy to find. Now that we have our wet ingredients mixed together, I'm just going to set them to the side for a moment. And we're going to work on our dry ingredients. So here in this bowl I have 3 cups of sifted flour. And to that I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. We're also going to add a pinch of salt. And we're just going to sift that together. So to assemble the batter, we are going to alternate between adding the flour to the cream butter mixture and 1 cup of undiluted evaporated milk. Generally, you want to start with the dry flour mixture, adding that to the creamed mixture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in 3 parts, and we're going to do the milk in 2 parts. So let's start. Alright, so building the batter by alternating between the flour mixture and our 1 cup of undiluted evaporated milk. We're going to go ahead and add the last little bit of the flour. For the last little bit of the flour, I like to take a spatula instead of an electric mixer and fold it in until you still see little streaks of flour. You don't want to fully incorporate it because at this stage we're going to add the cherries. So with these cherries, we are using glacé cherries. I've chopped up these glacé cherries into pieces. I put them in a colander and I just rinse them in the sink and pat them dry. This is going to kind of eliminate any excess syrup that they come packaged in, and that makes sure that the cherries don't fall to the bottom of the cake. You want nice even distribution of these glacé cherries throughout your pound cake.
The last thing to do to ensure these cherries don't fall to the bottom of the cake is to toss them in 1/4 cup of flour before you add them to the batter.
Great, now the final step is just to mix these floured cherries into our batter. We're going to use a spatula to do that so we don't overmix. Great, so now I'm going to take this batter and put it in our pan. I am using just a bundt pan and I have it greased and ready to go and lightly floured as well. You can also bake this in a loaf pan or a tube pan. This will make 2 smaller loaves. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it in here. Great, so now we're going to go ahead and pop our cake into a preheated 350-degree oven. This one should bake for about 45 minutes to an hour, but it really depends on your oven and also the size of your pan. So if you're using 2 smaller loaf pans, you're going to want to check it probably around the 35-minute mark. In you go. Okay, great. So this bundt took about 1 hour in a 350-degree oven. It's a bigger cake, so if you're using 2 smaller loaf pans, definitely check in ahead of that time. I've let it rest for about 10 minutes in the pan so we don't break it as we pull it out. We're going to take it out now. Here we have our finished Newfoundland Cherry Cake, and I'm just going to go ahead here now and dust this with a little bit of icing sugar. Beautiful. Just like Nan would make it. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you try this cake, whether it's your first time or your 100th time, we would love to know how it turned out. Merry Christmas from Rock Recipes. We wish you and your